All right. Good evening, everyone. Thought I would give everyone a quick update on our hurricanes in the Gulf of Mexico. You could even call them twin hurricanes. So, thought I would go ahead and start with that tonight and see where we're at. Now, my beautiful picture up there, most of you can probably guess. Well, you know what? I'll make you guess. Tell me what hurricane that is. That's a very famous hurricane. So, with that, let's get straight to it. So as you can see, we have two storms, one in the Gulf of Mexico, one in the Caribbean, and one is Laura. That's a tropical storm, as you can see with the hollowed out symbol, and then Marco is a hurricane with the solid hurricane symbol there in the Gulf of Mexico. Both are headed close to Texas, maybe not into Texas, but we're going to give it a shot and see if we can't get one or two of them close enough to us to give us some rain. So, with that being said, let's go on and look at the particulars. All right, so this is a satellite loop of Marco, and this is, of course, you can see the Gulf of Mexico here, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. And Marco has gotten better organized than they really thought it would. They thought there was some debate on whether it would even be a hurricane at some point, but it is a hurricane for sure. And it's getting a little bit better organized as you can tell, especially at the end there. Of course, you got the night that's at the end of the loop. And so it's, like I said, it's a hurricane. It's a minimal hurricane, but it is, you know, churning in the Gulf of Mexico, if you will. And it will probably not strengthen a whole lot more, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But it definitely bears watching. So let's look at the particulars of Marco. All right, so this is the latest track from the National Hurricane Center, and if you've been following this closely, you this track has gone all over the place. It was going to go up into Louisiana, and then it was going to curve back toward Texas and back in Louisiana, and now as you can see, if you look at that track, and let me see if I can put the actual track line on there. There you go. Really, it was supposed to come on in the hurricane warning area, which is the red, and the blue is the tropical storm area. As you can see, if this is obviously, and I would clarify that the way the National Hurricane Center does it is that the track line is the average of the models. You know, obviously you have some models that are going to be north of that, south of that. That's just the average. But really, and of course, the white area is what we call a cone of uncertainty. The track of the storm could be anywhere in there. So it's changed a lot over time. And as a matter of fact, I believe we can get a better idea of this by looking at the archived loop. This should do it here. Yeah, here we go. All right, so you can see in the very beginning, like I said, hey, it's headed right for Dallas. Now it's going to go south of Dallas. And then now it's going to go back to Dallas, and now it's not. And so now it's going to hit Louisiana near New Orleans, and now it's not. So that's the funny thing about hurricanes is that it could definitely, you know, do crazy things like that. So that's kind of what we're dealing with. So let me stop this and get to the latest if I could do that. There we go. So like I said, so right now this is where they're thinking the storm will end up. The H, of course, is hurricane. The S is tropical storm strength, and the D is tropical depression. If you were to believe this, which I'm not saying I don't, but it's going to stay south of us. Now, that's actually not bad news from a rain standpoint because that's really what we're looking at here. It's like, hey, can we get some rain out of this? If it actually does something like this, you know, being on the north side, this would definitely, you know, hurricanes counterclockwise circulation. So, you know, well, I don't know if I can do my drawing on this one or not. I think I can. Let's try it. Let's see if I can do this real quick. Yeah, the wind's going to come like this, excuse me, off the Gulf, and that's going to bring some tropical moisture into our area. That would be a great thing because I think we would actually get some rain out of it. So, excuse me, but you know, the track could change again. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Max, like I said, maximum sustained wind 75 miles an hour, moving north northwest at 13. Now, as you've heard about all week, is that we're not just talking about one storm; we're talking about two storms. So let's look at another storm, and that would be Laura. Now, it's not a hurricane yet; it's still a tropical storm, and it might not be a hurricane, at least for a foreseeable future, because if you can make out Cuba, then it's if it travels over Cuba, then that's really going to you know, keep the storm at bay, if you will. So if you look at a track to where it would be something along this line, you know, then it's going to interact with land a lot, and that's going to keep the storm at bay. But if it actually does something like this, then it would be a little stronger. So, we'll have to see obviously what Mother Nature has in mind. Well, with that, then let's look at that track. So this is the current position as of 8 o'clock Eastern Time today. Like I said, maximum sustained winds 60 miles an hour, moving west-northwest at pretty good clip, 21 miles an hour. So that's why you see this kind of fast track. Now, again, you can see here is, storm. When it gets closer to the middle of the Gulf, if you will, it's going to become a hurricane, predicted to become a hurricane. And then, of course, when it hits land, it'll become a tropical storm. So this path would curve it just to the east of us, and we would miss out because, again, if you remember, much like Marco may actually give us some rain based on that latest track. This one, based on the latest track, probably wouldn't because, like I said, you have to remember, the wind's going to circulate around like this. And so, of course, Dallas is right here. We would be on the dry side of it, where the air actually sinks. And, of course, we all know what sinking air does in the summer. It means no clouds, no rain. And, of course, if it's August, it means it's going to be hot. So that's a kind of a worst case scenario for us if this track verifies that it would not it would go east of us. So we could do the same thing with this. We can look at the so if I can get this to work here, we can look at the archive of things, and maybe we can't. Let's see. Okay, not gonna work for me. All right. I was hoping that would. Oh, you know what? Let's try this real quick. Let's see if this will work. There we go. Okay, so let's get here and do the same thing with Laura that we did with Marco and see how this has changed. So again, it was way out in the Atlantic Ocean before, and so now it's going to hit Destin, it's going to hit Pensacola, now it's going to hit New Orleans, and it's going to curve into Mississippi, but then now it's going to curve into now it's going to curve into Texas, and now it's going to come back. So again, it's the same thing. It's a pretty good guess, but it's not always the same forecast every time. So just something that bears watching. Initially, I thought maybe we would get more rain chances in North Texas from Laura. That based on the current track, that's looking like less and less. We may have a better idea, or better chance, I should say, with Marco, if it does the path that it takes currently, or it's forecast to take currently. That can obviously change tomorrow morning. So the bottom line is both of these storms, and let me stop this so it won't look like it's going crazy there. Both these storms are going to come fairly close to North Texas. Close doesn't always mean anything from a weather standpoint. And like I said, this is our best chance so far, Marco, that is. And it actually is a hurricane. But they're both going to come close. Now, whether they both come close enough to actually give us some rain chances, that's still to be determined. But right now, it looks like that Marco would be our best chance. So, if you go back to the archive, or if you go back to the track, the latest track of Marco, then let's kind of hope this happens, because if it does, like I said, we'll be on the more favorable side to get some moisture up from the Gulf of Mexico, again, based on how the counterclockwise motion of the storm, to how that would go. And again, we're talking about, oh my goodness, let's see if this will work. Yeah, again, we're talking about something like that if the storm goes this path. Now, like I said, and we'll use a different color here, if the storm track does this, then like I said, we'll be on the dry side and we won't get anything except hot weather. So the bottom line is, watch Marco, watch Laura. If you have people on the coast, friends, family on the coast, I would definitely keep in touch with them. Right now you just see all the warnings in Louisiana. Unless Marco does something dramatically different, I think that will probably continue to be the case. But, if my buddies, hello, Miss Tally, if you're in Galveston, hello, Pam, in Galveston, if you're there, just keep an eye on it. If it doesn't ever make landfall along Louisiana, it will be a little stronger, and it could affect the Galveston area, so just be on the watch out. I know you are, but just something to keep in mind. That's about it for tropical update. I don't get to do a whole lot of those, but when the hurricane affects or potentially affects Texas, and I'll definitely come on and see what we need to know. And this time of year, of course, we don't have a lot of severe weather, so there's not gonna be a whole lot of severe weather updates. But if it's like I said, if we have a chance for some rain with the tropical system, then hey, all the better. Well, that's it for tonight. Like I said, if you have any questions, shoot me questions in the chat. And if you don't follow me in the mornings, I do now do, when possible, which is most days, I do a morning weather report for Sachse and surrounding areas. So tune in for that. Typically 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. I'll obviously have an update on the storms tomorrow morning on how they're looking, and if our rain chances have increased or if our rain chances have decreased. If you look at the official forecast, probably our best day for rain would be Wednesday or Thursday, and that's a whopping 30%. That obviously could change, but right now that's what we're looking at. As always, I'm watching the weather so you don't have to. Hope everybody has a great evening, and we will talk to you soon.